Welcome to the Raw Food Romance Kitchen. We are going to be making the apple chaat salad, which you can find the recipe in Make It Raw Volume 4 that I wrote with Chef AJ, which is currently only available in the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. So if you have not gotten the bundle yet, please do so. You have until May 11th to buy the bundle, and then you have until June 30th to fully download them onto your device. It only takes 5 minutes, so do that. But yeah, we're gonna be making lunch here together today. So if you want, grab a pen and a piece of paper to write down all the ingredients so you can enjoy this recipe as well. Or if you want, you can grab the bundle. Again, link is in the bio or in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube. So again, this recipe is in Make It Raw Volume 4. We're gonna be making the apple chaat salad, which is one of my absolute favorites. It's hard to decide what my favorites are because there are so many favorites. But we're gonna start with some sprouted chickpeas. So they don't all have tails. They don't need to have tails to be edible. And how I made these is very, very simple. So you get some sprouting chickpeas. I like to use the ones from the Sprouting Company. And if you need a link to the Sprouting Company, send me a direct message and I will get you a link so that you can get some sproutable chickpeas. There are other companies like Anthony's has some on Amazon. So what you do is you soak them in water for 48 hours and then you sprout them for 24 hours after that. So they take 3 days to make. Nate and I like to do 3 pounds at a time. So we have 3 half-gallon jars with each a pound in them of dry chickpeas, and then we pour the water in, we stir it to loosen up any air bubbles, and then we let those sit for 48 hours on the counter. And then once they get to that stage of soakedness, then we rinse and drain for the next 24 hours, and then we rinse them one final time and then separate them into little containers of 1 cup or 2 cups, and we freeze them. So at that point we have frozen sprouted chickpeas, which are still raw, but when you thaw them, they have a nice soft texture. They are not like straight raw, so they're a lot more enjoyable. So we're gonna start with a cup of these thawed from frozen sprouted chickpeas. Now with that, the recipe calls for half a cup, but we're doing a whole cup. So that's a cool thing about recipes is that you don't always have to follow them absolutely exactly, except for the wraps you do, because they need the weights. But if you want more chickpeas in your salad, add more chickpeas in your salad. So for this one, we have some cumin. It calls for a 1/4 teaspoon, but we're gonna put a little bit more than a 1/4 teaspoon in here of cumin, maybe a little extra. And some chaat masala. It's calling for a 1/4 teaspoon of that as well, but we're gonna add a little extra because we have double, so probably about half a teaspoon of chaat masala. So this is the one that we are using. You can get this on Amazon, and it's just a spice blend. And we're gonna do half a teaspoon because we have double the amount of chickpeas and we wanna get that flavor in there. And we're doing this first so that the chickpeas can marinate while we get the salad and the dressing ready. So just mix those with the chickpeas, get all the chickpeas coated with those, with the 2 spices. And then we will just set this aside and let those marinate again while we work on the actual recipe. So again, look at that. Woo, these are gonna go on top of our chaat salad. And this is what Nate and I are going to have for lunch. So it's cool that we get to share this recipe with you as well. Next up, let's blend the dressing. So again, if you have a pen and paper, you can write this down, or you can grab the bundle, link in my bio or in the description box below. And this recipe is in Make It Raw Volume 4, so you can follow along that way. We have our blender with 1 cup of water in it. That is going to help blend everything. And we are gonna start, the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of dried apricots. Now we like to get the apricots that don't have sulfur added as a preservative, and also that don't have any oil, because some of them, they use oil to keep them from sticking together. So we have a 1/4 cup of the, let's see where I put this blender here. We have a 1/4 cup of the apricots. Next up is a chopped apple. So we have 1 apple here. I'll just have to grab a knife. Here we have a knife. That's the one thing I forgot. Okay, so we're just gonna chop this apple into smaller pieces because we wanna help the blender out a little bit. We don't wanna put huge chunks of apple in. So I'm gonna chop this into smaller chunks, and we're gonna add the entire apple to our blender here. So we've got that, we have this, and if you have any questions, I will try to get to those. Let's just see if we have any. Candleized veggies are amazing. Tessa, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So it's funny that you did mention that. Yes, candleizing is a term that Dr. Rick Dina, who is also part of the bundle, he came up with this term because Chris Kendall is the one who kind of shared most about, it's like his discovery of freezing and thawing vegetables so that they're softer. So Dr. Rick said, it's like we're candleizing the vegetables. So we candleize things by freezing and thawing, and that's a fun little way to refer to the freeze-thaw method. Turbo Trim says, sorry, just joined. Are the chickpeas soaked and frozen and defrosted, or just soaked? Great question. So what we did was, these were frozen. They were already sprouted. So we like to sprout our chickpeas first. Once they're sprouted, then we just put them in the freezer, and we like to split them up into 1-cup containers. So when we need chickpeas, we just grab one. We know it's 1 cup. And that's usually what we use, or we'll grab 2. Sometimes we put them in 2 cups because Nate and I will share a meal, so we like to each have a cup of chickpeas. So it really depends on how you want to freeze them, but yes, these have been sprouted, then frozen, then thawed, and then we mixed them with the spices. So thank you for asking that question. We have any other ones in here? Not yet. Okay, so we have our apricots and our apple in here. Next up is the lime juice. So this is going to be 3 tablespoons of lime juice. So I've got our lime here. I'm just going to juice this here and get about 3 tablespoons of lime juice. And you could also add a little bit of lime zest to this recipe. That would be really lovely. And actually, I might do some lime zest to this as well. When you are blending your dressing and it calls for lime zest, you don't necessarily have to zest the lime. You can actually just chop off a chunk of the outside of the lime. You don't want to have as much of the white part, because that's a little bit more bitter. If you want just the actual lime zest, just do like a thin cut and try to get some of the lime peel off. So that's what we're gonna do here. Just gonna cut a couple pieces of the lime and put those in there too, just to have a little bit extra limeness to this. So it's 3 tablespoons, and again, if you can't get 3 tablespoons out of your limes, that's okay. It can be a little less or more. It's totally up to you. Then we have a tablespoon of miso paste. So let's grab a spoon here, and we will add a tablespoon of miso paste. Now, if you only want to do 1 teaspoon, you can do that. If you like more miso, you can do that as well. It's totally up to you. And a question that I get asked often is, what about the different kinds of misos? So this is the one that we have. This is an organic miso. So yes, this is a soy product, but it's organic, which means that it's not GMO. And it's low sodium. We like to get the low sodium version because then there's less sodium in there. And the cool thing about miso is that through the fermentation process, The soy in its fermented form counteracts the effects of sodium in the body. So it's a really great combination. But if you don't want to do soy, you can get chickpea miso, which is awesome as well. We do enjoy a good chickpea miso, but the sweet misos are a little bit lighter in color. So the light misos are a little sweeter, and then you can get the darker misos, which are a lot stronger in flavor, and they are more bold, and they're dark. They're a really dark color. So that's a little bit more about miso for you there. Let's see, we had a question here. Ooh, those limes look so good and fresh. They are. Turbo Trim says, how long does it take you to defrost the sprouted chickpeas after freezing them? If you thaw them in a little bit of warm water, it really takes maybe 5 minutes. It's not a long time at all. Or you can just take them out of the fridge or the freezer and leave them on your counter. We like to use a metal strainer and just run warm water over them. That works as well, so you can do that. Neat tip on the easier way to do the lime zest. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're blending it anyways. So next up, we have half of a jalapeno. The other half of this jalapeno we are going to put into our salad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna chop this jalapeno, and I'm gonna take the seeds and the pith out of the one that we're gonna put in the salad. And I'm gonna leave the seeds and the pith in the one that we're putting in the dressing because we like it extra spicy. If you don't like it as spicy, you can use less jalapeno, and you can also take the pith and the seeds out because that's where the majority of the spiciness is concentrated. So we have here the other half of our jalapeno. I'm just gonna knock off the seeds. And this one we will chop later and dice it for our salad. So there we go. We have half a jalapeno in here, and then we have one tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. So again, you can add as little or as much as you want of that. 1 teaspoon also works as well. Then we have half a teaspoon of cumin. So we have our cumin here. We'll just grab our teaspoon. This is a half a teaspoon. So we're gonna put half a teaspoon. And if you like cumin, you can make an overflowing half teaspoon. If that's calling to you, you can do that. Then we have 1 teaspoon of our chaat masala blend. So again, this is the chaat masala blend. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of that. I'm gonna do 2 1/2 teaspoon overflowing because I like the extra seasoning in there too. So that's 1 teaspoon of chaat masala blend, 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper. So we have our black pepper grinder here. Again, you can add as little or as much black pepper as you like. So do that there. And then cayenne pepper. With cayenne pepper, you want to start slow. Unless you like it spicy, start slow with this. The recipe calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon, but you might want to start with a 1/16 of a teaspoon because it can be quite spicy. So use your own discretion how much cayenne you want to put in. Start slow because you can always add more, but it's harder to take it away if it's too spicy. So then we have our 1 cup of water in there, and we are ready to blend. So we have our blender right here, and I'm just going to blend this up. So we have our sauce blended right now, and it smells divine. I'm just going to put this aside for 1 second. And then we can start working on chopping the vegetables for our salad. So for our salad, this is next, we have this giant bowl. Now because Nate and I eat huge, yes, blender dance, Tessa. Always gotta have the blender dance in there. You know, do a little movement when you are blending. It's so much fun. So we have these big giant silver mixing bowls. that we use, or stainless steel, I should say, to mix our salads in, and then we put them into pretty bowls for our servings. So it's nice because you have a lot of room to mix everything. It makes it a lot easier. So I'm just going to move some of these ingredients to the side. And I'm gonna start with what's on the board so I can get that through into the bowl. So we've got some cilantro. The cilantro is, let's see, 1/4 cup. So you can put as little or as much cilantro in your salad as you want. Again, these salad ingredients are just suggestions. You can add stuff. If you like more grated carrot, you can add more grated carrot. If you want cabbage in here, you could add cabbage. If you want spiralized cucumber instead of cubed cucumber, you could do that too. You can do whatever your heart desires. We are doing 2 green onion stalks. The recipe calls for 1, but we like a little extra going on there. So we are doing 2 stalks of green onion. Here we go. And we'll just get that into our salad bowl. It's cool here, I can just drag it off into the bowl. That's kind of nice. And then we have our other half of the jalapeno. So what I like to do with the jalapeno is I like to cut it lengthwise in very thin julienne style slices. And then I will turn it to the side and slice into minced, kind of like mini tiny pieces. This way it distributes more evenly, and when you do get a chunk of jalapeno, it's not super spicy because you're not getting a huge long piece, you're getting just a small little chunk. So again, you can put as little or as much jalapeno as you want into your salad, or none at all. It's totally up to you how much you get in there. Next up, we have our lettuce. So we have a whole head of romaine lettuce here. Now, I'm gonna show a trick on how to cut the lettuce that Tessa, who's watching, absolutely loves this tip. So I'm excited to share that with you here, is how to do the romaine. So what I do is have it on the counter here. So here we have on the counter. And now what we do is slice lengthwise first a few times, because if you just immediately go to chop it this way, then you get really long pieces of romaine, and sometimes that's not as enjoyable in a salad. So I like to cut them lengthwise first. So what we do is we just cut lengthwise like so, just a few times, maybe 3, maybe 4. It depends on the size of your lettuce. So we have that. Then we turn it to the side, and then we shave it off. And Nate and I really like thinly shaved chopped romaine, but if you like it really chunky, then cut it a little bit fatter of pieces. And then you just go here. And again, you can wash your lettuce, obviously, but we don't usually wash our lettuce because we have these already. They look pretty good. We take out the outer leaves, and the inner leaves tend to be just fine. So we don't worry too much unless it's visibly dirty, then we will. But this one is a very nice clean head of romaine lettuce, so we don't really worry about that. But I'm not telling you to not wash. We have our little friend here, Dove. Hi. Little Dove. That's her spot. She likes to sit there while we are in the kitchen. She's such a sweet girl. We got her from Mexico. She adopted us, so it was our pleasure to bring her home and give her a nice home because she was looking for a home. So, Dove, we love you, Dove. So then we just put all of our lettuce into our bowl. So just gonna slide that off the cutting board into our bowl, and we can move on to the bell pepper. So we have this bell pepper that needs to be eaten. It's getting a little wrinkly. Watermelon Live says, we love Dove cameos. Dove, they love you. They love seeing you. She is so precious. Yeah, I love to share about Dove because she is such a unique, sweet, precious little soul. Yeah, I'm glad you guys love her too. So we're just gonna cut our bell pepper, and then what I like to do for the bell pepper, you can either cut it julienne style or you can cube it. For this one, we are going to slice julienne, and then we're going to cube it, kind of like how we did the lettuce. So you cut lengthwise, and I like to do them all at once because it makes it go a little faster. So just chopping all of them, all of the pieces lengthwise here, and then we will cube it, or just chop it into diced pieces. So we've got one more here, and then this piece we cut in half. All right, so once you have all of that, then you turn it to the side and just chop into little diced pieces, just like so. And we can put that in our salad bowl, just like that. It's an easy way to make a fast lunch. It's just a nice low-fat salad dressing that tastes amazing. Okay, next up we have a carrot. Now the recipe calls for a grated carrot, but we are going to do carrot ribbons. So we're using a vegetable peeler, which could also be a potato peeler, but we're using a vegetable peeler here to just peel the carrot first. So I just like to peel the outside of the carrot. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can totally eat the outside if that resonates with you, but I like to peel off the outer layer and discard that portion. Then from there, we can take the vegetable peeler and just keep going. And each slice will be a ribbon that we can add to our salad. So just keep going all the way around the carrot, slicing it with the vegetable peeler, and that will get you those ribboned carrots. And we like to do this. You can even chop off the end too if the end is a little funky, so you can do that as well. But this is how we like to do the carrots for the wraps. And that's how we like to put them in there. But it's so nice to have these in a salad as well. We like this texture of carrot sliced this way. But if you wanted to, you could grate the carrot, or you could chop the carrot into little cubes and freeze it with the chickpeas. That would make them a little bit softer. You could thinly coin the carrots, and you could put them in the dehydrator if you wanted to soften them up a little bit. There's different ways that you can add the carrot to your salad. But yes, we are doing the ribbons. Look at those ribbons. So that's how we do the carrot ribbons. And when you get to the bottom, what I like to do, I'm not gonna do this on the show, but I like to take the piece that you can't go anymore. I like to just eat it while I am making other things, but we're just gonna set that aside for now, and I will probably chop it up and add it to our salad after. So here I like to also cut a few times so we don't have super long carrot ribbons, but we have nice ribbons. And now we can put all of those into our salad bowl here, our nice big mixing bowl. There we go. Okay, next up we have half of an apple. Yes, love carrot. Yes, I do too. It's so nice in a salad, crunchy, fresh, sweet, wonderful. We're gonna be adding some apple, half of an apple to our salad. You could add the whole apple, and actually, you know what? Let's add the whole apple just so we don't have any extra left over. So what I like to do for the apple is I like to like mini cube it. So I have these pieces here, and then I just cut them into matchsticks. So they're like this. And then I cut them the other way, just like the bell pepper, just like the lettuce. Cut them into little cubes, just like so. And then you have all these little cubes so that you can just put into your salad. And the reason I like to do it this way is because it's nice to get like little bursts of sweet without a huge chunk, right? So it's more like a chopped salad. I really like chopped salads because the flavors meld so much. So you can do that as well. So just cut the apple. This one might take a little extra time, but I love the meditation that food prep brings. And we can all enjoy more food prep if we get into the mindset of enjoying more food prep. Just taking your time, chopping the ingredients, maybe listening to a live like this while you are chopping, or a podcast, or your favorite music, or some affirmations. There's so many things that you can do while you are working on building your healthy meals to pass the time a little bit. So here we go. Chop lengthwise like this. And then we turn it and chop the other way. And I like to, when I'm using a bigger knife, they stick to the knife. So I like to take them off the knife. Otherwise, they sometimes fall all over the place and can make a mess. But this is a nice, quick way of doing so. Just take it off the knife as you go. Now we have one more half, or not really a half of an apple, but we have one more piece. So I'm just going to cut this one up, and then we will go, so they're like this thick, basically about a 1/4 inch. And then we go lengthwise. So we'll go lengthwise like so. And always be mindful while you are chopping. Make sure that you have a nice sharp knife, because that's going to really help keep you safe. Dull knives are not as safe, even though we might think that dull knives or sharp knives are dangerous. They're actually safer, because then your knife isn't slipping all over the place as you're trying to chop. So there we go. We've got all our apples sliced up, and you can see our salad so far. Here we go. Next up we got the jalapeno radish. All right. One of my favorite ingredients. So the recipe calls for 3 little red radishes, but we have some purple daikon radish that we want to use for this. So what I like to do is just peel off the outside peel layer. You don't have to do this. You can totally eat the outside peel if you want. But this one's kind of looking a little kind of not dirty, but it's got some spots, and I don't want to add those to our salad. So I'm just going to peel it a little bit, and then we will chop it up to add a little bit of cruciferous zing to our salad, a little spice going on there. So just gonna chop off the bottom. Look at how beautiful this is. This is a purple daikon radish. And just like the apple, I'm gonna slice some slices of this radish. And you can put as little or as much radish in your salad as you want. And then I'm gonna split this up into 2 piles so I can do this a little bit more focused. First, same with the apple. You cut it lengthwise, and then you dice it the other way and add it to the salad. You could also, if you wanted a different shape, if you didn't want to do cubes, you could use the mandolin and do really thin slices of radish. That's also very beautiful in your salad. So really, again, it's totally up to you how you chop the veggies, what you prefer. If you prefer matchsticks, you could do that. If you want to grate the radish, you could do that as well. There's so many different ways to chop veggies to make them more enjoyable, or different enjoyable. So we've got our radish in here. Next up is the tomatoes. So the recipe calls for 4 Roma tomatoes, but we don't have any right now, but we have these little Camparis, and we love tomatoes. We eat a lot of tomatoes. So instead of 4 Romas, we are putting in 5, 6, 7. We're doing 7 Campari tomatoes. So we're doing 7 of these into our salad today. So I like to cut them in half, and then I cut each half into quarters. And then I just get them right into the salad, nice and fast. And again, for those who are new, this recipe is the apple chaat salad, which is in Make It Raw Volume 4, which you can get in the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. This is a bundle that some people wait all year to get, and it's only available until May 11th. This bundle is different from all other bundles because we only include brand new, never before released content. So everything in this bundle is brand new. If you've purchased bundles in the past, you don't have anything that's in this bundle. There's no duplicates from past bundles. Everything is absolutely brand new, including my brand new sushi ebook. Tessa says, Alyssa, I'm so encouraged watching. Every day I'm coming out of my creative habit comfort zone. I'm so gonna make this. I hope you do, Tessa, and I hope everybody else does as well. I'm so happy that you are inspired every day to create more and to enjoy some, new delicious recipes. And yes, this one is a low fat, it's actually a no fat dressing. So that's why it's so great for lunch. It's very hydrating because you have all these tomatoes and the cucumbers, the lettuce, and the dressing. It's not date based, it's apricot. You could totally use dates if you wanted though. So yeah, it's a great lunch salad. So here we have all our tomatoes in there. We've got our radishes and our apples and everything else. So we only have a few more ingredients to add to this. Next up is the cucumber. So we have our cucumber. Actually, we only have 3 ingredients left to add. So we've got our cucumber right here. This is a long English cucumber. And we're just gonna chop off the ends. And I like using a little paring knife. I'm gonna grab that because I like using a paring knife for these, because when you're using a big knife for these, it sticks to the knife. And then the next time you do another one, this is pushed up and sometimes it falls off and rolls on the floor. It can be annoying to cut a cucumber that way. So I like using a paring knife because then when you cut, it doesn't always stick to the knife. It's so much easier to use a thinner knife when cutting that. Watermelon Lime says, yes, always a wonderful bundle. Highly recommend. You'll find some new favorites. You definitely will. All of us creators who have created new things for this bundle, you're getting 32 downloads valued at nearly $1,400 for $50. And we work all year to create these for you. So we hope you enjoy. We hope you download and have some fun learning and looking at some new recipes, making things like this apple chaat salad. There is the Make It Raw 4 ebook, which this recipe is part of. There's 28 recipes in that ebook. And there's 160 recipes in my brand new sushi ebook. So the sushi ebook you can get via the link in my bio in the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. Right now, that's the only place you can get my new sushi ebook. After the bundle's over, I will have it available in my ebook store, but it's a way better deal to get the bundle because you're not only getting the sushi book, but you're getting Nate's brand new cracker book. You're getting Make It Raw Volume 4, which is the one I wrote with Chef AJ. You're getting Chris Kendall's Myth Busting. You're getting Sky, she has her Roar Dinners ebook in there. There's so many other recipe ebooks and content that you can enjoy in this bundle. So I do recommend, if you want the sushi ebook, to grab the bundle. It's not only a great way to support us, but a great way to support yourself as well. And I see Nate over here. Nate wants to say hi. He's more than welcome to come in and
I
say
get to come
hi.
in and say hi?
Of course, we love you. We love it when they love the Dove cameos, and I believe they would equally love the Nate cameos.
The Nate cameo?
The Nate cameo.
Hi, guys. How are you? It's good to see you today.
Oh, Nate, you are so awesome. Watermelon Lime says, I shared the banana carob freezer fudge with my mother and she liked it. Yeah, you really love that freezer fudge. That recipe is also in the Make It Raw Volume 4 ebook that you get when you buy the bundle. And the bundle's only available until May 11th. And like I said, there's people who wait all year to get the bundle. Oh, Watermelon Live says, hi, Nate. I was hoping you'd say hi. Aww. Yeah, Nate is pretty awesome.
Look at all the deliciousness happening over here.
We are making lunch for for us, and for the people, so that they have the recipe.
These right here.
Oh, yes. Those chickpeas. Try one. What do you think? Spicy.
Look at that cumin.
Oh, yes, the cumin. So good. Okay, so we've got our cucumbers all chopped. Next up, we have some raisins. So we've got a 1/4 cup of raisins here. You don't have to put these in, but they add a lot of beautiful sweetness and calories to the dressing or to the salad. And with the raisins, there are some raisins out there that do not have silicone dioxide or sulfur in them to prevent the caking, and that they don't add sugar or oil. So Food to Live on Amazon has some Thompson raisins that do not have oil and do not have any chemicals in them. So that's the one that we like to use. And we're just gonna put those raisins in this salad. Yes, raisins in the salad. And finally, we have my most favorite vegetable of all time, the red onion. These are sweet reds from Costco. So our Costco has sweet red Italian onions, and they're a lot easier to eat because they are sweet. So we are just going to peel off the outer layer. Oh, let's add those microgreens. Yes, we'll add those to the top.
These are actually sprouts.
Or sprouts, yes.
But we might as well throw some of those in there too.
Yeah, let's add them to the top.
Yeah, to the top.
Yeah, because we're gonna
always
mix.
better.
Yeah, we're gonna mix the dressing in, and sometimes the dressing gets like stuck inside the sprouts, so they'll be pretty on the top.
Clump.
Yeah, the nice clump. Although they do hold the dressing quite nicely. Yeah, we'll add them to the top. Great idea to add those. Okay, I'm just gonna peel, the layers of the onion off, and then we'll chop the onion. Again, you can put as little or as much onion in your salad as you want. I love onion, so we are going to be adding quite a bit, half this onion. We'll save the other half for dinner because we do eat a lot. Moek is asking, where are you located? So we live in Las Vegas, downtown, and we love it here. I actually immigrated to the United States from Canada so that I could marry the love of my life, Nate. So that's why I am here in Las Vegas. We chose Las Vegas because of many reasons. We like the climate. The food here is awesome and inexpensive for the most part. I mean, there's still expensive stuff. But we love it here. It's easy to travel to. So if we have our family or friends coming in, it's less expensive and it's easier to travel to. The nature around and the weather are probably the top two reasons, next to the fact that Nevada is an income tax free state. So we don't pay state income tax, which is very helpful. So that is a bonus as well. But the nature around is absolutely gorgeous. We've got Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park. We've got Valley of Fire. We have the Spring Mountains just about 45 minutes away from us. It's awesome here. And again, we love the weather. It's beautiful coming from Canada when it was cold all the time and snowing so much. It's a nice change. So yes, Las Vegas. Watermelon Lime says, I learned the other day that the layer right under the paper-like layer of the onion has the most antioxidants. That's good to know. That's good to know. Also, the enzyme that makes us cry is attracted to water. That's why it goes to your eyes first. It's not damaging, but it can irritate a little bit. A great tip on that is to have a bowl of water when you are chopping onions. So if you have a bowl of water on the side, the enzymes that are released in the air, they are attracted to moisture. So they're more likely to be attracted to the bowl of water than your eyes. You might not water as much, but it does happen. Another thing is having a wet towel over your shoulder to trap some of those enzymes that come out. But a lot of the enzymes are concentrated in the ends of the onion. So keep that in mind as well. But yes, thank you for sharing that. Tessa says, yes, I was hoping the red onions would make an appearance. Of course, we cannot have a salad without red onion. And here is what our salad looks like right now. Moek says, I was looking for a raw food in Vegas and I couldn't find anywhere. So raw food restaurant, I'm sure that's what you meant. Sadly, in Las Vegas, this is not the place where people come to be healthy. All of the raw food places that used to be here are no longer here. And even the one vegan place that had 2 raw dishes, they had raw tacos and they had a salad that you could make raw, they closed last year, maybe a year and a half ago. It was just a few minutes away from our house and we would take people there because they could get the cooked vegan, we could get the raw, but they closed. And it's sad because that's just how it is. People just don't want to eat healthy, and as many people who want to have raw food, there's just not enough support here, which is sad. So yeah, there isn't anywhere to eat raw here in Las Vegas. You got to make your own food, and our favorite restaurant is our own kitchen. So that's where we eat our beautiful food anyways. I was looking at a beautiful park in Summerlin. Sunrise was gorgeous. Yeah, it's so wonderful here. Whole Food Plant-Based Donna says, I've been to Zion National Park. It's so beautiful. I love that Zion is so close. It's only about 2.5 hours away. So we've sometimes gone there just for the day. We'll go there, do a hike, and then drive back home. So it's so nice that we have that so close by. Watermelon Lime says, off topic, if you don't mind, but I was wondering your fave Kylie Minogue song is because you saw her live. Yes, I saw Kylie Minogue live with Nate. Here in Las Vegas. That's another reason why we love Las Vegas, is all of the shows that we can attend and watch and enjoy here. Kylie Minogue has always been one of my absolute favorites since I was very young, since I was about 9 or 10 years old. My friends who moved to Australia would send us tapes in Canada, cassette tapes of Kylie Minogue, and so I listened to her a lot when I was younger, so her music reminds me of my childhood. So it's such a wonderful memory that I have. My favorite Kylie Minogue song, I have way too many to choose my favorite, but off the top of my head, usually when I put her music on, there's a song called It's No Secret. That's one of my favorites. And Love at First Sight, not the new one that she did in like the early 2000s, but the one from the 80s, the late 80s. It's called Love at First Sight. That one is my favorite of the two. I still like the other one, but the original one, it's a different song, but the original name, that song I really like a lot. But I love her younger year stuff most because it's more nostalgic to me. So I do enjoy those. The Celebrate album, or I think it's Enjoy Yourself, and the Kylie Minogue, like the original, 1987. I really love those ones because I was about 7 or 8 years old around then. I'm 45, so it's been a while, but those would be my favorite songs. So here we go. We have our salad ready to go. And Nate, if you could do me a favor, could you bring me some salad mixing tools? No, I don't want to use. I would like to use some salad mixing tools. And I also need a bowl for you as well. So if you could bring that to me, that would be wonderful. But yeah, look at that beautiful salad, my friends. It's gorgeous. And we're going to put some sprouts on top of these. So I have this salad bowl for one. And if I could use your brown bowl if you want.
Sure, Woody.
Woody. So this bowl is Nate's bowl. It's called Woody. There's a few jalapeno seeds in there. But we'll put Nate's in this bowl, and we'll put mine in this bowl.
Okay, let's show them. This is the best way to mix your salad.
You're gonna do it?
So
okay.
I just washed my hands. It's the best way.
Okay, so we have our apple chaat dressing.
Oh, smells good.
You can get your hand right in there.
Yeah, use your hands and the spatula. Careful of those blades.
Yes, and I will go rinse this for you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
She knows. Rinse it while it's wet. And then you can just get in there. I feel like with the fingers, you can turn it and toss it and get everything coated so much more evenly. And then of course, grabbing handfuls and putting it into your bowl is that much more easier. And of course, we're putting energy, direct energy into this food, if you believe in that kind of stuff.
Actually,
Look
I'm
at
gonna
this.
Get the other bowl.
Oh man, this smells so good. And those cucumber little relish chunks she did for you guys today. We got a special one. See, now it's completely mixed. And then it's nice to have your bowls ready to go.
Yes.
Because when your hands are all funky, look at that. I mean, there's no way I could grab that much with a couple of spoons. Okay, I put a little more there.
Okay.
And then here, we'll just take and go like this. This is typically how we rock the scene on a daily basis. When I'm doing the salads, that's the way I mix it. And then rinse right away.
Thank you, Nate, for showing us how.
You're quite welcome.
Here is Nate's salad, and here is mine. We got mine in this bowl. So now we will add our sprouts. We've got our sprouts here. I believe these are broccoli. So we can put some broccoli sprouts.
Some broccoli sprouts.
On top right here.
And then check it out.
Yeah, look.
The bowl's rinsed and cleaned. Dry it up, put it away, done deal.
And we cannot forget the final topping, our chickpeas that we spiced up earlier. So let's just sprinkle those on top of our salad here. Just like so. Well, we can totally put kimchi on here. Yes, and then you can go a step further and add other ingredients if you want. Like, we're going to be adding some kimchi to ours. So you can add whatever you like to the top of your salad. So if you want some extra spices or whatever, yeah, I mean, it's totally up to you.
We're out of kimchi that we made, but this is so
Yes.
incredibly good.
This is one of our favorites.
Yeah.
And there
Would you
is...
like on top or on the side?
Sure, let's put it here.
Right there?
Yeah. Woo! Oh,
Get it all
so
out.
we have a recipe that's very similar to this one in the sushi ebook. So if you buy the bundle, link is in bio or in the description box below, there is a recipe for the spicy mustard kimchi.
It's so good
Yes,
too.
it's very similar to this one. So
Like you could eat it right out of the jar.
Oh.
No problems.
so good, yeah. Pixify says my favorite kimchi.
Yeah.
Yes, this is such a good
This
one.
is such Ooh,
Yeah, it's a
it
good
smells
one.
funky. It smells funky, but it's so good.
Yeah. How do you make that? I'm not sure what you're referring
Maybe
to.
the kimchi?
The kimchi? I like your bowl, Nate. Where did you get it?
I got it from Ross Dress for Less.
Yes. So, yes, Ross Dress for Less was where Nate got this bowl, and he got it like a decade or more ago.
Yeah.
It's an
It was
old bowl.
$12.
It was $12, and he's been using it ever since.
That was the bowl that has been to many, many backpacking trips. We ate with it on the strip in Vegas.
Oh yeah, we ate with this on the strip in Vegas like 6 years ago or 6.5 years ago when we first met.
Yeah, because what's cool with a bowl is you can put, your dressings and your salad ingredients in it, and then of course, I can't flip it on its side right now or else everything will fall into Melissa's bowl. But, when this is in your backpack, it holds a lot of stuff. This is kind of a heavier one, so I did retire it from carrying it because it was like, I want to keep it nice.
Right. Mary's asking what's in the dressing. So the dressing is an apple chaat masala, so apple, apricot, jalapeno. The recipe, you can rewatch this live, you can write down the recipe, or you can grab the bundle. The recipe is in Make It Raw Volume 4. He wants the fork. Make It Raw Volume 4, which is in the bundle, has this recipe in it for the dressing and the salad.
Get that.
Yes, Tessa was asking, what is the texture of the sprouts like?
Okay, let me try one for you, Tessa.
Oh, the sprouted chickpeas.
The
Or
sprouted
the
chickpeas
sprouts?
or the sprouts?
Or the sprouts or the sprouted chickpeas. So
The
2
chickpea-
times the sprouts in
The
here.
chickpea is like, it's
Oh,
like,
the broccoli sprouts, she
Oh,
meant.
okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say the chickpea is like a slightly al dente kind of steamed vibe. Let's try these by themselves. Most sprouts are pretty similar except for like the radish ones. They're like a little spicier.
The texture.
It's just, they're definitely strong broccoli sprouts by themselves. Slightly spicy, slightly Yeah, like the sulfur. Like the sulfur is more concentrated.
Yeah. Hydrating.
Very hydrating. Nice and crispy. Right?
Crispy. That's
light.
a good one. Light.
Yeah.
Love that. Yes. And to make the broccoli sprouts, we had those in a jar. We actually just basically soak the seeds, the broccoli seeds, for overnight. And then for the next 3 to 5 days, depends on how much they sprout. But you rinse and drain 2 to 3 times a day. And then you have sprouts. They're pretty easy to make.
So easy. I hand put this one together. A little kimchi, a little sprout,
yes,
a little.
That looks so good.
Little garbanzo bean.
Have a nice bite there. Pixify says this year makes me being raw vegan for 10 years. Congrats!
All right.
Yes, this year will be your 10 year, I think.
Yeah.
And I've been raw for over a decade as well, so that's really awesome.
All of us combined, that's 30 years. And that was one interesting thing thinking about the bundle. If we were to add up all of the individuals who contributed to this year's bundle, how many years worth of wisdom and knowledge is put into this bundle if you combined everybody? It's probably got to be like close to 300 years.
Exactly. I know. So much knowledge. Whole Food Plant-Based Donna says, I bought the raw bundle from you. It is a great buy. Where can I see the replay of the sauce talk you did yesterday at noon? Actually, that was yesterday. We had our sushi. That is available on my Instagram, so you can scroll through the past videos to watch that, or you can watch it on YouTube. I just posted it on YouTube today, so you can see it over there. And for the recipe for the sauce, you'll have to watch this video again. So the replay again will be up in YouTube or here on Instagram. You can just write down all the ingredients, or you can grab the bundle. Link is in my bio, and the recipe, the full recipe, is in Make It Raw Volume 4.
It's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, someone's saying here.
I had soup because of a toothache. Oh yeah, you can make raw soups as well. Yeah, blend them on high speed. Blend the soup base, the liquid part on high for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and it warms it up so you can actually make.
And in the process of making the soup and getting everything ready, like you're like, I want some soup. You could put your bowl, your ceramic bowl, in the dehydrator, and then go on making your soup, getting all the ingredients out, making the soup, blending it, and then by the time you're ready to pour it out of the blender into your bowl, you get the bowl out of the dehydrator, and the bowl is actually kind of warm too, which makes it kind of a nice vibe as well. It's good.
Great on YouTube. Oh, this is so good. I hope you get to try this recipe. And yes, all of the lives that we have been doing here on our Instagrams will be posted on YouTube. So if you do miss them, you can watch them here on Instagram, but they'll also be on YouTube as well.
I just posted one, my first one, that when we started the bundle. So that was my goal today, is to get the other ones uploaded. You know, it would be best to do it at the end of the day, but by the end of the day, we're like kind of pooped.
Right? Tessa says, I love bundle season. In addition to great recipes, I get to see you guys almost daily. It keeps me encouraged with this lifestyle. Thank you for sharing that, Tessa.
Heck yeah, Tessa, we love you.
Yeah, we love you and we love everybody. You saying that makes me want to go live every day because I want to be there to help inspire people and share.
We got to.
Yeah, so that is wonderful. Pixify says, you guys use the Nama J2. We don't have a juicer, but it's a good one.
I really want one. I really want the Nama. I want the Nama nut milk maker. I think that would be amazing. Just for those times we want to make some nut milk. I'm not sure what other things you can do in there, but doing some yogurt and stuff would be so cool. Those machines look amazing. A friend of ours has one, and they can take and put on a different attachment to do a juicer, like a citrus juicer, just a reamer that spins around and you just hold your orange to it. That's so cool too. The Nama seems like a really great machine.
Noy says, yay, I love your lives. We love that you love our lives. Thank you so much. And we've been having a lot of fun making the food and then eating it here, sharing with you guys, answering questions. This is really good.
Good.
This is so good. And it's a fat-free or no fat added, It's interesting when people say like 0 protein or no fat. It's not true because there's always going to be a little bit of protein or fat in everything. Like there's still fat in here because there's fat in the lettuce and stuff, but it's no fat added.
Yeah, no added fat.
No added fat. So
That's what should be said. No added fats. Okay. These sprouts have a little bit of fat. Sorry. The sprouts have a little bit of fat. The lettuce has a little bit of fat. The apple.
Chickpeas.
The tomato even.
So you sprout the chickpeas overnight? No. So the chickpeas need 48 hours to soak. You can't do those ones overnight. They're too big. They need time to absorb the water. So you put the chickpeas in a jar, fill it with water, mix it, stir it so that the chickpeas release air bubbles, and then you soak it for 48 hours, which is 2 full days. Once it's been soaked, you rinse and drain for 3 times over the next 24 hours, and then you put it in the freezer, regardless if they have little tails or not.
So 72 hours essentially. From
3 days.
From the time you put it, you start the sprouting to the time you're ready to put them in the freezer. So what would maybe another 12 hours, because it'd need 12 hours to freeze.
Right, yeah.
So 72, 82, 84, maybe 84, 84 hours, you're ready for your chickpeas.
That's why we do 3 pounds at a time. So we'll have like a bunch of jars going. We sprout them all at once. And then once they're sprouted, we separate them into 1 cup containers and then freeze them. So when we do need chickpeas, like for this one, I just grabbed one out of the freezer and thawed it under some warm water. So
it makes it so nice because you're just like, oh, I want to make some chickpea salad for some crackers, which my cracker book is in the bundle. Go tap and grab the bundle, get the cracker book. You get the veg salad and the chickpea salad. The chickpea salad is so good.
I know that recipe in his book. Oh, it's so good.
The veg and the chickpea salad, those are 2 things that I really miss as a vegan, a raw vegan. Like I loved tuna salad. Tuna fish salad. That was like one of my favorite sandwiches growing up, as well as egg salad sandwiches. And these recipes, if you close your eyes, put a blindfold on, and think, ooh, this is some chicken salad or tuna salad, it's going to seem like the same. The texture, because of the chickpeas, it's amazing. But what's really nice is being able to just go to the freezer, grab out the portion, 1 cup, to do your recipe. So it may seem like a lot. You're like, oh my gosh, I've got to soak these for 48 hours, and then I got to sprout them for 24 hours before they're ready to freeze, and then I have to thaw them. But, if you don't think about that from that kind of an angle, and you just think, oh, this is going to be great. I'll just set these on the counter for a couple of days. Don't even have to worry about them, Then for 1 day, I just got to rinse them a few times.
Yeah.
And then they're done. And then you have cups and cups worth of chickpeas ready to go, like we've got in our freezer. They're all portioned out.
Yeah, 3 pounds makes like, I don't even know, like 14 cups or more worth of chickpeas. So doing them that way, and what we do is we have 3 half-gallon jars, and we put 1 pound in each jar, and then we just soak them for 48 hours, and then after that we like to separate them into smaller jars so they sprout a little easier. But rinse and drain for 24 hours, and then they go in the freezer. So it really doesn't take that.
And if you have a kitchen scale, it's really nice because you can just set your jar on the kitchen scale, and you can tear it out so it says 0, right, with the jar on there. And then when you pour in your chickpeas, you just pour until it hits a pound. So it's an easy way to, kind of figure out like how much to put in.
Pixify's asking, what's your mayo base for that? I'm assuming she means for the chickpea and the egg salad, the veg salad.
What's the what base?
The mayo base.
Oh, the mayo base.
The creamy part.
That's a great question. These ones in the book have, the chickpea salad, I don't think I put, that was the pea guac. You could put avocado in there, a little bit of avocado. And you could mash up the avocado with like maybe even a little bit of water, just to kind of thin it up real quick. And then you could coat the salad with that if you want. The salads themselves don't have any kind of mayo base, but if I was to do a mayo base, which is amazing, there's the mangonnaise that Lissa has, which is a really amazing recipe. And where's that? That recipe's not in the bundle.
No, that one is in the burger book.
And the dips and dressings?
Nope, just in the burger book.
Just in the burger book. Okay. So that's a really good one, the mangonnaise. It's in her burger book. Or we just make a cashew sour cream and just use a little bit of cashew sour cream. And that really is a nice way to kind of, dress it up a little bit if you want some of that dressing.
And if you make a cashew sour cream, to give it that like mayo zing, you could add mustard powder to it to kind of give it that classic mayo kind of flavor. Mustard powder works really good for that. Watermelon Lime says, I love sprouting. Haven't done it in a while and need to get back to it into it again. Sprouting is so much fun, especially if you have little kids. They love that.
Yeah, because they get to see the whole process within a couple of days. Like they pour the seeds in the jar, maybe they, swish the jar and drain it if you fill it up with water. And then in a couple of days, you're ready to eat them. So much more fun and exciting because it's faster than watching like basil grow from seed or a tomato grow,
Right. I know, it's a fast, easy way to enjoy more nutrition. And also, speaking of that, in the bundle, if you buy the bundle, link in our bio.
Yeah, Stacy
has a mini microgreens video course on how to choose seeds, how to be more successful with them. So grab the bundle and watch that.
Tessa made a good point here. She's like, join the Raw Food Romance community.
Yeah.
So right now, there's not the link for the Raw Food Romance community, but where could they go? Could they just...
I'm going to just send either of us a DM.
We'll send you the link.
We'll get you the link.
Then you get the mangonnaise recipe. You get to come to all the classes that we do. We share, we don't hold anything back. We're pouring out anything and everything that we can share with you guys. And Tessa's in the community, so you get to meet
you, Tessa.
you get to meet all kinds of really cool people, and yeah, we go live, at least once a month, showing at least one recipe. But there's how many recipes? Is there like?
I think we have there's 18 replays.
18 replays.
Wraps, sushi, ramen, burgers and fries.
But
all kinds of stuff.
Wraps, fruit roll-ups. But there's so many recipes in there. I don't know if you counted the recipes. Like there's
the actual recipes.
There's got to be like 100 recipes.
Yeah, there's probably about 100 recipes in there, and
they're all categorized.
Yep.
So you have like you're like, I just want to like find a dip or a sauce. You can go right to that category. Boom. You want to find some sushi stuff. You can go to that category.
And sometimes we do monthly challenges where there's a new recipe every day that comes out, and only people in the community get those recipes, and they stay in the community. So as long as you're in the community, you get access. Where is this here? It's Marie says, I wish I liked sprouts. Maybe I haven't had good ones. Sprouts are kind of an acquired texture.
Yeah.
I think some people might not like the hairiness of them.
Right.
But the more you eat them, the more you might like them.
And what I like to do is I like to take them, put them on the cutting board, and chop them up. So they're just like they just kind of get lost in there. And it's really good in wraps. Same. I like to chop them up so I don't bite into a wrap and I'm pulling out strings of sprouts. But yeah, it's an acquired taste, and that's another reason why we like to sprout them ourselves. Is because then we know how fresh they are, because these things aren't going to last very long when they are, they've gone through a lot to even get on the store shelf if you buy them in the store. Yeah. But man, it's so fast. And of course, the more you eat sprouts, like even if you just had like this many sprouts in your salad diced up, you would never know they're in there. And you're growing your microbiome to where these bacteria very possibly could be sending you signals like, hey, send some more sprouts down here. We really liked that.
And I used to not really like sprouts either when I first started, but I did them because, they're really healthy for us, and the broccoli ones.
That's a really good living food.
I started to like them more. So, we really have to keep trying. Pixelfy says, do you do retreats? Not yet. Hopefully we start doing them. It's a lot of work to run those. So we haven't done those yet.
We've thought
Maybe
about
next year. I don't know.
We have a brainstorm notebook on what we'd like to do. And the retreat model that we kind of geek out on, the idea is to have everybody come. We'll get like a super awesome place, and we'll have a menu of like what we're gonna make, and everybody like writes down the ingredients that they need to get to the store. Then we'll hop in a big old stretch van, or like there's all really kinds of cool limos that you could rent here in Vegas. Go to the store. We'll all get the carts.
We're gonna go shop for vegetables in a limo.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
Bring the groceries home. That way, each and every person that comes to the retreat is actually you know, you know these steps, like how to plan out your meal, how to go pick the vegetables and the fruit up from the store, super quick and efficient, get back to the place, and then you guys will be making all of your own stuff who are at the retreat, right? And we will make sure everybody's, you know, like, you know, doing it the proper way. That way, by the time the retreat's over, everybody will have consecutive days of doing this on their own, essentially, with a little bit of guidance. But then you go home and you know what to do. You're like, oh yeah, I totally know how to use the dehydrator. You know, I know how to blend up, you know, cashew sour cream with some mango nays real quick.
I know how to sprout broccoli microgreens.
Yeah, we'll do some microgreens, we'll do some sprouts. That's kind of the model that, you know, we've kind of pictured would be really amazing, is because then you leave knowing what to do, because it's really fun to go to a retreat and be served the food, but then you go home and you're like, gosh, that was really delicious. I wonder how they made that. But if you made it yourself and you even bought the ingredients to make it yourself, you planned it, man, how empowering would that be, right? You're like, oh man, I'm like, I hung out with like the raw food crew for a week. I know exactly what I need to do, how to shop.
Exactly. That's the way to go. The vegan SLP says, I tried to sprout chickpeas, but they got spoiled. A few things on that. Most people try to sprout them until they have tails.
Or they're not sprouting chickpea.
Yeah.
Like they're, like sometimes if you buy them in the bag off the shelf, they're not specifically for sprouting. You're not gonna have the best germination rate too, so you wanna make sure you get chickpeas for sprouting. You're gonna have a better rate there, but
yeah, and so the sprouting company has some sproutable chickpeas, and again, if you want the link to the sprouting company so you can buy some really good high quality germinating sproutable chickpeas, send me or Nate a DM and we'll get you a link. But usually if they're spoiling, it's because you're trying to sprout them too long until they have these long tails. You don't need long tails. They only take 3 days before they're edible.
Sometimes they don't even pop a tail out. Like if we look at these here, there's no tail. You see?
But they're soft. They're edible.
They have been sprouted.
Yeah.
They just haven't sprouted the tail yet. So yeah, that's definitely a big thing, is like sprouting them too long, not rinsing them, and you know, you swish them out. Sometimes you have to rinse them a couple times, you know, because there's a little bit of film in there, right?
And also something to keep note too is when you put the chickpeas in the jar and then you fill it with water, there's air bubbles that are trapped in between the chickpeas. So we highly encourage you to stir the chickpeas in the water to release as many air bubbles as possible, because we know that oxygen can create bacterial growth. So they can spoil that way as well. But yes, OMG in Raw Food Romance, Lisa and Nate are so generous with their time, insight, and love.
We got these
Thank you.
Out.
Yes.
We love you, Tessa.
We love you, Tessa,
amazing.
and everyone else who's in the community.
If you guys don't know Tessa, you got to join the community. You got to see her hair. Her hair's amazing.
I know, right?
She got this fan blowing on her, hair blowing. Oh man, she's a model.
Lisa Marie.
Oh yeah, Lisa Marie. What's going on? Mincing up may help with texture while transitioning to. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, definitely. Mincing up stuff is really great. You know,
chopped salads are so good.
And like Lisa's saying too, she always says, right, start small, start slow. If you're not used to having kimchi, like just this much kimchi in your salad, that's going to help grow those microbiome.
Totally. And Lisa Marie also says, brilliant, it's a transition. Yes, definitely. Watermelon lime. You could also put sprouts in smoothies if you don't like them. You still get the nutrition. Yes, that's such a good one too.
Watermelon lime. Do you have my smoothie solution book?
Yeah.
I've got a lot. I've got a sprouting guide in there. Sprouts and smoothies are great. It's a great way to add the nutrition in there. And it's interesting because it's living food, vitamins and minerals, all kinds of really beneficial nutrients. Just blend them up.
Yep.
Good vitamins, good nutrients.
You can put them in your dressings too.
Oh yeah.
You can totally do that.
Great way to hide them. Then the kids don't know.
Emil says, very practical and useful activities at the retreats. Yes, we don't want it to be just a lazy retreat. We'll have people to learn. We'll have lazy time.
We'll have lazy time. We'll lounge by the pool and whatever. But it'd be really cool if everybody went home. It's like a culinary class.
Yeah.
Everybody goes home. They know how to like cut stuff up. They know how to
they feel empowered.
Grate things or spiralize and all these little techniques that sometimes you might see, but hands-on is the best.
Hands-on is so different.
Especially when you got your teachers who are like smacking your hand if you're not doing it right with the ruler. That's not how it's done.
Oh, Pixify says that's what I need, a good way to shop for groceries. It's very hard on me. Oh, yeah. Watermelon Lime says, I miss your grow-alongs, Nate.
I know, I got to get more going.
Aw, you got to get more going.
Maybe I can do some in Oregon when I'm up there.
Oh, yeah, that would be really cool. Nate's going to Oregon for 43 days.
Maybe I'll bring 2 of those sprouts.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool. A sprout up there.
Do a grow along just for fun.
Yeah, I need to. I know. I miss you guys too. I need to do more of those. It's interesting how we get all super active with lives and stuff for the bundle season, and then we kind of trail off and don't really do as many lives. And they are a lot of fun. It's really fun to see you guys, and well, I know now that we can see you, but I can see your name, answering questions, interaction.
Tessa says, when soaking, not sprouting chickpeas, is airflow important, or can I vacuum seal the mason jar? Yes.
Not when, when soaking?
Yeah, when you're soaking to sprout. Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
soaking part. Yeah, the soaking part you can do under vacuum, but the sprouting part you need airflow for. Yeah.
Yeah, I think soaking under vacuum, we need to try that more. Like, it would be cool to do some side-by-side comparisons to really see, like, if it's more beneficial, because if it is, we'll adopt that practice. But we don't do it very often, but it makes sense that it would kind of force the water into whatever you're trying to sprout.
Question here. People tell me my skin color has changed to yellow or orange glow. Do you get that from people, or can you explain?
That's interesting. Yeah.
It might be, like, I don't know what you're eating, but if you're eating a lot of foods that are high in carotenoids, carrots, for one, anything red, like bell peppers, orange bell peppers,
even beets, like yellow beets and these kinds of things. Carrots especially, though.
Yeah, carrots especially.
And oranges.
Especially the palm of your hand.
Yeah, like I remember my hands were orange. People were like, your hands are so orange. And I was like, man, what was I eating? I wasn't eating a terrible amount of carrots, or I shouldn't say terrible, a lot. I wasn't eating a lot of carrots. I don't know if it was melons or what it was, but my hand, the palms of my hands were a bit more orange tinted.
There's just an overabundance of the carotenoids. It's not a bad thing, but it just means, like, your body's not really necessarily using,
like, absorbing it. So it's trying to excrete it somehow.
Yeah, and you're getting a lot of vitamin A from that as well anyways, so
not a bad thing.
Yeah.
We have friends too, like John. He seems like his hands are always kind of orange. Not anything to be worried about, I wouldn't say, but of course it'd be interesting to see what you're actually eating, They would be able to answer that question even better.
And Watermelon Lime also wrote in the chat that Dr. Brooke Goldner has a video on that, so you could probably go to Brooke Goldner's YouTube channel and type in orange skin or carotenoid. There, you might be able to find it there.
Or if you use Chat GPT, ask Chat the question, hey, my hands are orange and I eat a lot of raw foods. What can it be?
Yeah, so definitely. Or Watermelon Lime, if you know that video, you could actually send to Pixify too.
There we go. Yeah.
Connect with each other. That's one of the beautiful things about having an online share, is like you guys can connect with each other too, which we love to see, and that's one of the big reasons why we have our Raw Food Romance online community, is so you can connect with each other and find friends maybe in your area or online friends that you can connect with and enjoy. And yes, love you both. Will you tell us some high protein foods?
Love you. Woo. Well, these chickpeas are very high protein. Sprouts are pretty high protein. Cauliflower, broccoli, mushrooms, those are pretty good amount of protein. But of course, sprouted lentils, sprouted chickpeas, when I think of high protein, kind of lower fat, I always think of those foods. Sprouted chickpeas, sprouted lentils, sprouted mung beans.
Sprouts.
And of course, like, nuts and seeds are going to have protein, like walnuts, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, cashews, these sorts of seeds are going to have, nuts and seeds are going to have a good amount of protein.
But
they're high in omega-6, they're high in fat. So, going with the, the sprouted stuff, the chickpeas. I feel like chickpeas and lentils those are your go-tos in a lot of ways.
And your greens, your vegetables, and keep in mind that there is protein in everything.
Yeah, the protein in everything.
So you don't have to worry about getting specific high protein foods as long as they're part of your diet and you're eating a lot of variety. And most importantly, you're getting enough calories for your activity level. Because if you're under eating, protein is one of the least of your concerns. Like you're under eating fiber and hydration and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and all that stuff if you're under eating. So eat enough calories for your BMR plus activity, which is usually around 500 to 1,000 calories more than your BMR to compensate. And then if you eat enough, you usually get enough and you don't have to worry about getting specific things.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, BMR for like, say like a woman who's, maybe like 5'5", 5'6",
Roughly around 1,400.
Yeah, it's about 1,400, maybe like 140 pounds or so. 1,400, so, another 500, that would be, close to 2,000. But if you had 1,000, especially if you have higher activity, that's 2,400 calories. And what's cool is these plants, the cucumbers, the lettuce, the carrots, the bell peppers, the onions, all of them have the essential nutrients that we need, the essential proteins. The 9 essential proteins that we have to get from our diet are in the plants. They're in there. We just have to eat enough, eat variety, because they're in varying amounts in different plants. So all plants have protein because it's just a building block, an amino acid. But what's so amazing about raw food is it's so high in an intact fiber. It's not broken down. It's not like denatured or damaged through the cooking process. Like if you do a stir fry, sometimes, you're stir frying and you kind of overcook it. It's not as potent, of a fiber. But yeah, protein, it's interesting because the number has been doubled, the RDA of what we actually need. For a man and a woman is, it's a bit different. It varies of, between like maybe 15 to 20 grams. But it's been doubled. So for a woman, let's say for a woman you need 60 grams for your day.
No, my RDA, like based on the 0.8 per kg, is 46.
46.
That's all I need. That's been doubled.
And the 46 number, number's been doubled. So, and then another big thing is people, there's a lot of information out there like 1 gram per pound of body weight. You hear it everywhere. 1 gram, 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. If if you're really active, 1.2 to 1.5, like 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. But that's actually not where it should be because it's supposed to be kilo.
Which is a very different measurement.
Whole different measurement. So 0.8 to 1 gram per kilo of body weight. And you'd have to do the conversion. You can go to Google or whatever, chatbot, and have it do the conversion so you can put in all your stats and then you'll know like how much protein you actually need. That's the RDA. You could be like, hey, what's the RDA for my age, my sex, and my height,
my activity level.
You'll know what you're supposed to get, and just keep in mind. And there's the studies. It would be really cool to put that in the community, and we should have this like as many places as we can. The studies.
Let's talk about that for our Zoom hangout.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Because these studies. Back in the 40s, they were like, let's figure out how much protein some of these, industrial workers, like the guys building the skyscrapers in New York, like how much protein do they need? And then just to make sure they cover their rears, by putting this as the RDA, the recommended daily allowance, is they doubled it. So the main consensus out there of like how much protein we need has been doubled. Just to make sure that our bases are covered. And there's a lot of money to be made, of course, get into that whole topic. But it's interesting because when you put in Chronometer, even if you're kind of slightly under eating, because there's days Liz and I aren't hitting our numbers exactly the way that we ought to be, right? Maybe it's a busy day. We had a smoothie for breakfast. Maybe we didn't have lunch and we had like, a dinner, right? And all we had was the 2 meals. Maybe we didn't get the amount of calories that we needed. Of course, that's not an everyday thing, but even then, when we put it in, like, let's just see what we ate today. We're like, oh, cool, we're still hitting our numbers of protein that we need. No added protein powders in our smoothies. No added protein besides just living foods and, yeah. But it is a total valid concern because I consume content. I'm scrolling out there and I'm like, man, it's so confusing. For someone who isn't like in a groove and educated in a certain way with that lens on, because you have to really take off the biased lens or the dogmatic lens. Learn how to critical think, ask the questions. If I didn't know, everywhere I see out there, 1 gram per pound of body weight is what I need, or else I'm going to shrivel.
Right? I know.
Essentially, that's kind of the main message.
But it's per kilo.
Yeah,
It's per kilo.
And of course, you know, I mean, there is a science behind guys and girls who are into bodybuilding, right? And it's funny how that kind of gets crossed into everyday people. Not everybody is a bodybuilder where they're working out, you know, an hour to even like 4 or more hours a day. Or they're
an Olympic athlete.
Or an elite athlete, right? An elite athlete, they're going to have different requirements. They're going to be burning way more. They're going to need more. For the average person who is walking maybe, you know, 5 to 10,000 steps a day, maybe they're getting some like good resistance training in a few times a week.
You don't need that much.
You don't really need very much. You're going to get what you need. And you're going to be regular. You're going to have good blood flow.
Like Mike the Vegan actually had a YouTube that I just saw in my feed, and he said fiber is the new protein, which I really love because there's so much emphasis on protein, and that's not something that we really need to be worried about. But it's fiber variety, and fiber abundance, right? Not under eating, making sure we get a wide variety, like huge salads, lots of variety, like the ones that we made today. So important.
So important.
Sally's asking, guys, do you take multivitamin supplements?
That's a good question. So we ought to be better with taking our B12. Everybody needs to take B12. It doesn't matter if you're omnivore, carnivore, you know, vegan. So B12 is one that we include in our stack. We need to put our stack on the counter right next to the Vitamix, so that way we can think about it in the morning, because it is something that we ought to be doing a little bit better on. It's good to get your levels checked.
Yes, that's the most important. Get your levels checked. See where you're at.
Because you don't know where you're at unless you get your specific level checked. But B12 is really important. Vitamin D3 is really, really important. And there's ways to do that. You know, like there's certain plants like mushrooms. If you put them up, the gill side up, and put them in the sun, they actually like convert. They convert and create their own vitamin D3. Like,
which is a hormone, by the way.
Which is amazing. But just to make sure you're covering your rear, you take the B12, you take the vitamin D, even if it's just once a week, it's going to be better than nothing. And then you have iodine. We do iodine. We get our iodine through
sea veggies.
Yeah, sea veggies. You know, we eat like, you know, fermented sea veggies that are, you know, fermented. Then we also have like dulse and wakimi. And
get the bundle because you get the brand new 160 recipe ebook for raw vegan sushi, so you can get more nori into your life, which has iodine in it.
And the nori, the
whole
nori,
food source.
One of the biggest ones, and this is you know, most people, it's interesting because they don't, unless they're taking a supplement, it's really tricky to get vitamin K2, right? So natto is a fermented soybean, and that's one of the highest sources of vitamin K2, but you can actually buy it that is in a powdered form.
Freeze-dried natto, whole food, raw, and you can add it to your dressings.
You could throw it a little bit into your smoothie. You could sprinkle a little bit on your salad, so you're getting your vitamin K2. So let's go over it again. We've got B12, D3, iodine, K2, and then there's selenium, which is really important. You can get that through a Brazil nut. Then, of course, there's zinc and magnesium, but if you're eating a wide variety of raw foods, you're going to get your zinc and magnesium covered. So really the only supplements, I mean, if you get the bundle and you have the sushi book and you're eating more sushi or you're eating more sea vegetables, you know, maybe like at least once a week, like your levels should be pretty good, but it is good to get tested to see where you're at. And then, of course, then there's the omega-6, omega-3 ratio. Those aren't necessarily vitamins, but that's good to like get checked out too.
Yeah, and so to boil it down, we don't really take multivitamins.
No.
We eat our vitamins. We eat an abundance, a wide variety to get an adequate amount, but we do supplement with B12 and D3. I mean, I haven't taken a B12 in a long time, but I tested my levels and I'm higher than mid-range, so I'm not too worried.
But we ought to.
It's good to test.
Good practice. Like, it should be a part of our self-care Sunday, where every Sunday we're taking the vitamins at least once a week. Because I don't necessarily feel like taking vitamins every single day. D3 can be really simple. You can get a sublingual spray. Just spray a little bit under your tongue.
Or go out in the sun if you have.
The sun is the best.
That's the best way to get it.
That's the best way. No sunscreen, short amount of time, no sunglasses. There's so much more research coming out, which is so good, about not wearing sunglasses, because then your eyes, everything's connected. So your eyes like, well, it's not really that bright out. I'm not going to convert the skin protective oils that I need because it's not very bright out. So not to say that we all should be not wearing sunglasses or not slathering up with some sunscreen, because there are certain times where maybe it's just necessary. But it is best practice to not wear sunglasses. I have like light blue eyes, so I'm really sensitive to super bright light. Like if there's like white backdrop and I'm looking at a white wall or like at the pool or something, I'm like, like I need to put a hat on, or like I'll wear sunglasses once in a while. But then the sunscreen thing is an interesting one too. But yeah, it's really important to get out in the sun. If you have a sunny day, just 5 minutes even, just sitting out in the sun. Maybe you're in a place where you can like open your shirt or something, expose more skin.
Shorts and tank tops is so good. Watermelon Lime says this might be as well a nutritional podcast.
Right.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're enjoying.
We're doing tostadas tonight with some friends, so I'm not going to be able to finish this salad because I do want to be able to have some room to eat some tostadas tonight.
That might not be for 2.5 hours, so
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm not going to be able to finish it. Liz is crushing hers
I know,
over
I'm
here.
crushing mine. I'm hungry. Watermelon Lime says 160 recipes for iodine, right? Yeah, totally. Sally says, you are amazing, guys. Thanks. You are so very welcome. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to sign off now. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for sharing. If you got something out of this podcast, you want to support us, and most importantly, you want to support yourself, please go grab the bundle. The link is in my bio. It's also in Nate's bio at Raw Natty Nate. Or if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description box below. So go grab the bundle and enjoy all the deliciousness.
We love you guys.
Yes, we love you guys so much. Hugs from Italy, we see in here. Hello, yes, awesome.
Italy. Amazing.
La bella Italia. All right, so we'll see you next. I'll be live in about a half an hour, again, with another topic. So we will see you then. Much love, everybody.
Bye, guys.